How do you butcher a sheep? That's the question that I was asking about 4 or 5 years ago. I moved from Copenhagen out to the countryside, and my neighbors just gave us like 4 of their sheep. And these sheep, of course, they get lambs every single year, 2 of them most of the time. And so there's just like more and more sheep. And we wanted, of course, to get some nice lamb meat out of these sheep as well. It costs quite a bit of money to look after sheep. And so I, of course, went onto YouTube to go look about how I should do this. And you find all these different people. One I can really recommend checking out is a guy called Benny the Butcher, Australian guy, fantastic accent, really entertaining, and also an incredibly skilled at doing what he does. The problem is, though, is that everything happens incredibly fast, and he has some pretty complicated techniques for cutting out these like really nice, really friable pieces of meat. But it's really difficult techniques that he uses actually, and cuts up the meat very, very small. And what I was really looking for is something that's just pretty fast and easy, can get the whole thing cut up in the way that I can, put it in the oven and eat it. So fairly large pieces of meat sometimes, but also having some smaller pieces where it makes sense. So you can make a meal just for 2 people for some of them. And then you also have like that nice big lamb rump for when you have guests over or something like that. And so over 4 or 5 years, I've been doing this every year, and I've developed my own approach, a technique. A lot of it is inspired by Benny and some other guys as well, about how to do this, and found something that used to take me 3 hours in the beginning to butcher 1 sheep. Now it's down under an hour. And so I've created a video in 3 parts here for you to watch and enjoy. It was part of a fall gathering that we had here at the homestead where we teach guys. We were focused on slaughtering lambs, and then we also did a whole lot of carpentry work and garden work as well. So we have these gatherings regularly, but this was the part about butchering that I shared a video with. So take a look and let me know if there's anything else you think I could be doing better. I'm sure we'll be able to improve it as well still for next year. So thanks a lot and enjoy. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. I will show you and talk a little bit about what I'm doing while I'm doing it. So if someone wants to learn how to butcher a sheep, then maybe you can do it from this as well. So the first thing is separating 3 parts. You have like a back part, middle part, front part. To find a place here, then you have to go inside and you count 5 ribs. I've actually already made the first cut, so this is on in between the 5th and the 6th ribs. Then you cut all the way down there, and then I do the same on the other side. So I find the 5th rib right here, and I put the knife through, and then wait. You can see why I'm still not an expert at this. And then we bring up the knife this way here. So it's certainly not a Benny the Butcher here, but maybe that'll mean I'll do things a little bit slower, because one of the things about Benny the Butcher, he's like incredibly fast at doing what he does. So it's actually really hard to follow what he's getting up to, or what he's doing. So yeah, this kind of gets followed all the way up here like that, and then we take the snore, the saw, and cut through the, I think it's called the brisket there, something like that. And then we do, Luna's a big one. I think she's definitely going to be our best meaty result for this year. There we go. Okay, so we have that there. Then we got to actually get all the way through the spine as well. So get this saw down between the ribs here. Yeah, we got to kind of work all the way down there. Actually, I think I'm gonna have to bend her a little bit over backwards. So let's get her a little bit this way. Yeah, I can create a bit more space here. And then it's, you know what? I'm actually gonna have to do this from the top, I think, because the angle just isn't working between the ribs there. So I'm gonna try and saw her over from the top. So, all right, over here. Get through this meat here. So when I started doing this, it would take me about maybe an hour and a half to even 2 hours to get through a whole sheep. And the last ones I've been doing in about just under an hour. So, but most of them are not as big as Ule here, so who knows if that's going to take a little bit longer with her here. That's a piece of spine here still. There it was. So, there we go. First part separated. Yeah. Next part over here. Here what we do is you find there's like a kind of bone, a hip bone there, I guess. I think it's right over there. And then we just take straight down from the side, right above that hip bone there, all the way there. I think I cut just a little higher. Yeah. There we go. There it was. Yep. And then the same on the other side. So there's the bone. So here. Yep. And here. And all the way there. Good. And cut it all the way up along the spine here, so that all that's separated. And then we should be able to just take it over the edge here and give it a bit of a yank. And then when it comes out. Good. So it comes over there. And here we have probably the best part of meat. It's called the cooler, which is just basically like it's these two back legs here. In Danish, the cooler. I don't actually know what it's called. I never ate lamb enough in English, so I don't actually know what it's called in English. Yeah, I do a fairly simple way of separating them, and this is the best part to serve for if you have like a nice big group of guests over and you want a good serving. Okay, so we get them up like this. I think actually normally these are already removed. I had some help skinning. We did it on a little gathering we held. So they all got skinned in like slightly different ways to different degrees. I'm just going to use the saw to get this off here. Get it out. Just lost that. There you go. Okay, so separate it like this, and then we're just basically going to go down the middle here and around the kind of whole tailbone area here and down there. And if you watch Benny the Butcher do this, it's like 1 minute he just like and goes all the way around. And for me, I'm going to sharpen my knife a little bit. It's a bit of a longer and more complex process. I think he just kind of has an imprint of exactly what a tailbone looks like. So he knows exactly every little corner of it. And I got to kind of feel my way every time a little bit more to find where it is that what I'm supposed to be cutting. So let's see how we go. So we come down here. So far so good. And then gonna be cutting this way. Yeah. And then this way here. Yeah, I think a little further out. Yeah, there it was, that's the edge. Yeah. And then I just want to get all the way in there, because that's where the we need to get into. Yeah. And, let's try this here. Yeah. Yeah. So this is where the kind of joint comes in there. I'm just hitting into that bone there. So when you get there, that's where you see like that kind of like ball and socket joint, and that's a good one to, once you find that, then you're kind of like at least a good way through. Yeah, there we go. And then I want to get as much meat off here as possible. So yeah, I don't know how much you can see there, but that's the socket joint right there. And this meat, I'll have to try and get it on the other side. So you can see I didn't do a perfect cut there. Now this is coming along fairly easily. And this is one thing which I'm not sure how he does. There's this kind of bone coming out from there, but there's all this meat in here as well. So I'm trying to figure out how to get that to come along with on this big piece here. Yeah, a lot of fat on this one, which is actually a bit tough to cut through. Yeah. So just following the bone down. Yeah. That bone kind of spreads out again on that last little section there, so it kind of goes outwards.
But here you can cut it more in towards the middle. Okay, yeah, so that was the first one, and you can see like the word kulle in Danish, it just means club, so that's a nice little club there. Beautiful, beautiful piece of meat. Look at that dark color there. It's fantastic. So good. So yeah, the first one's actually the easiest one because you kind of got that counterweight going over both ways. The second one's a little tougher because you usually have to like do a bit of a balancing act and find your way. But yeah, we cut around that way, so now it's about this side over here. So I think I'll put it down like this, and then I'm actually just going to get this hunk of meat out here that I didn't manage to get with me. I normally make like a little bag of odds and ends for the wife of little pieces of meat, and I guess that can go into a stew or something like that. Okay, so now we're going to try go for down the other side. So, yeah. And get around the bone there. Yeah, okay. And I wonder if I can just cut it this way here. Yeah, I think I'm just going to get this knife instead. This knife has been a bit blunted, so I think I actually need a better sharpening stone. So I'm going to try and do another sheep. Let's see. So around that corner there. There. Yeah, this is a tough one. Yeah, it's coming slowly but surely. Struggling a bit with the front here. Okay. So I'm getting into that ball and socket joint again. And there's some really tough sinews around that, so pretty hard to cut open. That's a good way. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Okay, free. Okay. And on the back side there. So, yeah, you can see there's a bit of meat left on there, but it's not too terrible. Yeah. Okay, so I'll put that there. And yeah, there's is number two. Good. I think I'm getting warm enough. You have to get this off. Out in the barn, so it's probably only about, yeah, I don't know, 6 or 7 degrees. Okay, so this is the part. Yeah, I really don't do more with these. It's really beautiful. Obviously, we'll get rid of the hair here before I put it in the freezer, or the bit of fur. But it's really beautiful to serve like this big thing when you have guests. So I don't see any need. As long as you can get that into an oven, I think you can. Might need a bit of an angle. You might take a bit of the bone there. But giving this to the wife, it's a good piece of meat. Benny the butcher, he cuts it up a lot. But I think that's a bit of a pity. Okay. Next piece. We have this one in the middle here. So here we have like both like a part that kind of has ribs in it. I don't know how much you can see. There's ribs there. And then this is kind of like a loose side. So that we cut off the loose bit. And I just started kind of up here at the end of the bony bits. And then cut that off. And I got a little bit too shallow, I think. There we go. So this is definitely edible. We call it slay. I don't know what the English word is. If there's like really big hunks of fat on it, then I'll get rid of those. If there's just like total, yeah, but a lot of it is actually not too bad at all. So yeah, and then this side here, do the same thing, just along where the ribs go up to. A little bit further here. There we go. Good, so those are there. And then, yeah, with this done, I think this is actually the remainder of the diaphragm here, which is not a bad muscle. It's a nice little muscle, so I'm pretty sure that's edible with the extras there. Yeah. Okay. So now what we're going to do, I think, is just separate this into two, make it a little bit more manageable.